There we go. Welcome to the A.D.K channel. I, of course, am Dave. There's no Andy or Kirk with me today, but I do have three wonderful people. We have Sen, Ian, and Matt, all who are from, I think you're either from the same or you're probably from the two different Sleep Token groups from Facebook, which is where I've kind of approached you guys. And today we are getting together to talk about just where has all this hype about this band Sleep Token come from. That's the general gist. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background of where my thought came from, and then I'm going to go with two key questions I'm going to throw to each of you and see if we can get a bit of an understanding from it. But about 3 weeks ago on the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel, we were just doing a review of news that was coming up on Blabbermouth, Loudwire, stuff like that, and we were talking Sleep Token was an article, and it was a name that I'd heard batted around by a few people, different musicians I knew had mentioned Sleep Token in passing, and there was this whole thing about how quickly they'd sold out Wembley, and we were just going, what's this band? We've no idea what's going on there. Where's this hype come from? And then it was a case of it's a guy in a mask, and we're like, okay, is this a gimmick? What's happening here? We really had no idea what was happening. And then we did a review or a reaction to one song. I think it was Aqua Regia, or I believe might have been the one we reacted to. And I'd already previously heard Summoning. And I just wasn't getting it. For whatever reason, I just couldn't understand how Sleep Token was getting all this hype, and it just wasn't resonating with me. I was not connecting with the music, and I just sat there and went, I don't understand this. What's happening? How can this be going on? So my challenge was right, I'm going to ask three of you guys from the Sleep Token groups to come on here and really almost defend your band, was where my head went. I was like, I'm ready for a fight on this one, because I'm going to really put you under the cosh. And then I thought, before I do that, I really should go and listen to all the Sleep Token stuff, because I can't just do it off of like a couple of songs and then kind of bat. So I had to spend a day listening to lots of Sleep Token, and then went, yeah, I kind of understand that now. I kind of get the point. I'm not going to say I'm a fanatic, but I can completely appreciate the appreciation of the band Sleep Token. They're not all the songs that I like. There are songs I found a little bit boring, but there were some absolute classic tracks in there. And the whole vibe of the performances, the vibe of the songs. I made a lot of notes to talk about where my head was going with it. But now I really want to be... There are so many other bands out there as well that I really appreciate, but they've never had this level of hype. So that's the difference that I'm trying to understand here is Sleep Token, great band, great look, great ideas, interesting mix of different styles of music. But is that enough to justify this level of hype? So what I'm going to throw now over to you guys is, I'd like to understand from your point of view, when did you first come across Sleep Token? So how did you get into them? And then what is your opinion of why there is so much hype around them? So I'm going to throw this over to Matt first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with the beginning. How I found Sleep Token. There was a YouTube channel back in the day, defunct now, but his name was Truant Reacts, and right. I was in his Facebook group that he was in, and everyone around 2018 or so was talking about this song Jaws by Sleep Token. And I was just like, I don't get it. Why is everybody hyping it up? Why is everyone saying worship to this? I don't understand what's going on. And I checked it out. I just went and checked it out. I thought the song was good. I didn't really think much of it. I was like, oh, it's a good song. And then a couple weeks went by, and then I heard Jericho on my Spotify when I was listening to my Tesseract radio, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is really good. So then I took a deep dive into their first two EPs, plus I think The Way That You Were was out at that time too. And when I heard The Way That You Were, that song just shattered me. I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. This is music for broken people that have been through hard stuff. And I was also going through some pretty hard stuff at that time. Can I curse?
Yeah, go for it. I don't care. Fuck it.
Because like my first thought for the way that you were, I was literally just like, fuck,
Yeah.
and I couldn't help it. I that was the first time probably ever for a genre this modern where I cried like a little bitch, and and then fast forward to Sundowning, and then Bloodsport can't comes out. I'm crying like a bitch again. I go see them live in my well, not my home state, but an hour and a half from me in Connecticut, opening for Issues and Polyphia, and I was like, all right, this is it. This is my new this is my new thing. This is my new thing. I literally went and got their logo tattooed on my wrist. That like not too long before that, or after that rather. And then Tomb comes out. It's cemented that I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is my new favorite thing. And then fast forward to now, when Chokehold comes out, I'm like, okay, this is great. We're coming back to some new stuff. The Summoning comes out. The rest is history. The band blows up. They get all this hype, and now going back to the question of what makes Sleep Token so hype is they make music for broken people, and broken people can empathize with that music, especially with topics of heartbreak, lost love, mental health, deteriorating everything in your life. It's all so dark and sad and atmospheric, and then the atmosphere can help bring up emotions in people that they probably need to let go of. And to me, that is probably the most cathartic thing about that whole band, is how atmospheric they are, how they can drum up these emotions in people that probably a lot of people wouldn't properly know how to express. Maybe they're too scared to try therapy or go to counseling, but then they find music like this that they can put themselves into, and then they can potentially move on and, you know, feel something and potentially grow from that music. And to me, that is how I see Sleep Token getting the hype that they, in my opinion, rightfully deserve.
Very interesting points. I'm going to come back to your points once we've gone all the way around, because I think you may have touched on a little bit there that could quite explain it. But Sen, how about yourself? Where is your kind of introduction to Sleep Token and your belief around the hype?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I got into the Sleep Token game pretty late. Last year, actually. I was driving my mom's car, and they have Sirius XM, and I heard the offering on, I think it was the Octane channel, and I was like, at first I didn't like it, which was hilarious to me now, but it was like an earworm though. I couldn't get it out of my head, and like 2 weeks later I looked it up on YouTube, and I was like, this is actually really good. So I went like down the rabbit hole and started listening to the whole discography, and realized, oh man, this band is something really special. Like they just have this je ne sais quoi, where it hooks you, and you're curious about it because you go to look up the band and there's nothing, right? They don't do interviews. They're all masked. Like their Wikipedia page says they're an all anonymous band. And like, it's not the first all anonymous band, right? Slipknot kind of started out that way, and they blew up and got real big and unmasked and stuff. And like,
yeah.
But with the Sleep Token thing, I think there's a couple reasons why I think the hype is so big. One, the music is really great. Like Matt said, it really does appeal to broken people who have been through it. The way Vessel writes is so lyrical and so poetic. And like sometimes it borders on edgy, but a lot of us are, you know, elder emo kids and people that have been listening to alternative and like heavier music forever. And so that's our thing. I mean, I'm wearing a Panic at the Disco shirt, so, you know, I like, you know, edgy stuff. But the way that Vessel writes is just, it gets you. And they have, you know, their whole like worship, masked singer kind of shtick. like they have something that gets you interested. They have a really unique look. They all wear masks, they all wear cloaks, they all wear the body paint. They're goofy on stage. I haven't seen them yet. I'm hoping to hit the September ritual here in Dallas. And like I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. Um, but I want to see that. I want to feel that energy because it really does something to people. A lot of the fans in both of the groups are super into it. I mean, theory crafting about, what the songs mean and like what the runes mean, and the lore is so cool. Like the lore capitalized. Like that's a big part of the fandom. And it's one of the things that I think draws people in and hooks them. Not only like how great the music is. I mean, Take Me Back to Eden is probably the best albums I've ever heard, just because there's so much there. It's not just metal, it's not just pop, it's not just ballads. I mean, it's all there, it all flows, it all works together really well. And, it tells the ending of the story they've been telling for 3 albums now. And that's really interesting. People, I think, subconsciously want more to their music than just, a banging beat, right? Want to be able to feel something. Because, like Matt said, it's catharsis for a lot of people. They can't afford therapy, especially not here in America. It's expensive to live. And so people just need a way to express themselves. A lot of people can, like Matt said, empathize with what Vessel is saying. They can feel like themselves. They can express themselves and be who they are. Like this community, this fandom is so open and welcoming, and like the band, as hands off as they are, that energy brings people together. And I think, the word of mouth thing is so important too, because they don't talk about themselves. They don't do interviews. They don't talk on stage either, from what I've heard. So, they really do rely on the vague social media posts and their fans to really carry it. And like, they teach you in marketing, word of mouth is the best way, to market.
Yeah.
So I think the great music and the different styles they kind of have something that appeals to everybody. Like they have at least one song where you could be like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. No matter who you are. So, I mean, it's just like Ghost, Ghost has a lore and they're really big too. So I think we just really, we as like a collective society really liked like masked musicians. I mean, we have the Masked Singer. It's a really big deal too. I think that the music is really big, but also like the shtick they have is really, really good. That was a great idea. And like, it's super compelling. Like you're able to project onto these people. And that's a lot of what the fandom does, is project onto it. And so they're open to that. They let that happen, like the goofy TikToks and the theory crafting and the memes and stuff. Like that's a big part of at least the fandom that I've experienced. So I will stop because I'll keep going.
Okay.
And sorry.
Fair enough. I think you've good points in there. I'm going to throw it over to Ian. Let you take over and share your thoughts on this.
I found Sleep Token on their Beautiful Oblivion tour when I went to see Polyphia in 2019, late 2019. Matt knows the whole Ian lore.
Funnily enough, I'm sorry, I just gotta like interject real quick. I love Polyphia too. I'm actually an admin in like their big Facebook group, and a lot of those people talk about Sleep Token too. So that was like another reason for me to get into it.
Okay.
I love the lit posting group. Neil Young carries that stuff so hard. I love him.
Yeah.
He's so funny. Yeah, I found them when I went to see Polyphia, and I heard them, and I was like, "Whoa, who are these guys?" We were asking people, and no one in the crowd, no one was singing along. No one knew who they were. We asked people, and someone said, finally, Sleep Token. I was like, oh, well, there's no one here that's like singing along with them. Which, you know, was fine. No one sung along with Lil Aaron, and now I love Lil Aaron too. He's so cool. I didn't stay for issues, but all three of the people that I saw on that tour were just amazing acts. But Sleep Token had something different. They sounded so almost perfect. Like, you would not understand how like studio sounding they sounded. They almost sounded like it was just straight backing track. At least. But, you know, they don't do that. And then I went and listened to their stuff after that, and I was like, man, this sucks compared to the live stuff. But at the time, you know, I wish I had something different to add, but at the time I was not in a good place, and I heard that music, and then I started doing a deep dive like these two did, and it's like, oh, hey, I am broken. Oh, hey, this fixes the broken. And I think a lot of like why the hype, the summoning, that's the summoning is there for the hype. That's kind of what has gotten them so big. But I'm glad that people are enjoying the other stuff too. And if the summoning never existed, they wouldn't be nearly as big, no, but I still think that they would be well respected and would have their hype to go with them. As for like the whole appeal of the band and stuff, obviously I wear a mask. I had been anonymous prior to getting into Sleep Token. It's gonna sound weird, but 2017, I started getting anonymous and started not posting my face. Oh yeah, great timeline up here. I think that was the year of it for just about everyone. But I think one of the things that, you know, they talked about with the emotions and the emotional, I think a lot of their music really caters to those of us who are on the spectrum or ADHD, where we have a really hard time just understanding emotions. There's some emotions I just don't understand. There's some emotions that I do understand, but I don't regulate them normally, and I think that I use Sleep Token as sort of a mood stabilizer per se.
Okay, that's actually really interesting, because that ties into the word that you've used, or pretty much all of you used, is the broken aspect, the emotional. It's the crutch. It's the way that you can empathize. It's this element that brings you back to, or helps you get through this period. And music is obviously seen in a lot of cases as a great tool for doing that. But obviously they do it take it into a much further level. And I've heard that in the musical, it is almost like some of the songs sound like they're hymns. There's a choral element to a lot of the tracks. Because before we actually did this, I listened to a few of the songs, and I was going, well, some people have said, oh, it's because they do so many different styles. And I went, well, that can't be it, because I've heard bands do different styles. So it can't just be because they play different styles. And I listened to a lot of the tracks, and I listed, just off the top of my head, we had progressive metal, mathcore, jazz, blues, R&B, melodic death metal, symphonic metal, alternative metal, groove metal, pop, new metal, and goth rock. They were the ones that I picked up after on a once listen through, and I'm sure there is a whole host more that I've missed. But there is a lot that they encompass in their album, in their music. I loved Alkaline, I loved Chokehold, absolutely great tracks. I thoroughly enjoyed those particular ones. And I heard influences or stylizations of bands, not just from the metal genres, but bands like Poets of the Fall, Tool, even elements of bands like U2, and little bits from lots and lots of different bands. And when you said the words broken, that explains a lot to me, because at this point in my life, I'm not in that place where I'm feeling that way. If you asked me 10 years ago, I was a very broken person. I had a lot of problems in my life. I was under a lot of stress. I was an alcoholic. I had lots of issues. But I'm now, actually from 2 days ago, I'm 4 years sober. I've sorted a lot in my life out. So when I listen to music, I'm very analytical. So when I we did a song breakdown on the song, was it Vor? Yesterday. And I was sitting there going through it, going, "Well, hang on, is this like the mid riff?" And I'm sitting there trying to analyze it as a track to try and break it down to understand the structuring and etc., rather than taking it in as an experience. And that explains why it doesn't connect with me to the level of hype. In my opinion, could be the reason why it's hyping for a lot more people, because it connects to you on a personal level and it speaks to people that are broken. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Mhm.
Oh no, I got it.
You're good. Yeah.
Because it's I mean, I love the idea of the visual, and I'm going to use the word gimmick. It's because it's just the best way. It's gimmick in a good way. The visual look, because it's Slipknot did it, and we actually asked about in a video the other week about when does a gimmick become a legitimized style? Because Slipknot started as a gimmick, and then that disappeared, and it became legitimized. It became a genuine. People were like, "Wow, this is no longer just a funny thing to see someone do on stage. We're committed, we're connected to it." Sleep Token very much is a legitimized. People are completely committed to it. They don't look at Vessel on stage in a mask and go, "That's weird, what's going on there?" It's people are connected. They are worshipping it in the what do they call it, the church of Sleep Token. Is there anyone got any ideas about why we're almost like we would use it as the phrase here in the UK, the Marmite effect, which is you either love it or you hate it. And we're seeing that when I posted a little bit about Sleep Token recently, I had people going, "Sleep Token, absolutely love them, they're brilliant." And then there's other people going, "Fucking hate that band, they're bloody awful." And I'm like, why? They're not awful. They're technically very, very good musicians. It may not be your style. It may not be something you would listen to every day, but why do you have to go down that route? So does anyone have any kind of steers on why there are people out there that go, "I hate Sleep Token"?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to let all of you have a go on this one.
Oh yeah.
Go on. I'm going to let Ian go first, though, if you've got an idea on this.
Well, there's a couple different reasons. As you said, Sleep Token is for broken people. When you look at most of their older discography, even into some of Eden, so some of those people just might not be broken, and so they don't get the emotional appeal. But also, it's like, I want to say something like the Taylor Swift effect, where, oh yeah, they're massive in the metal scene right now. You can't scroll through a metal group without seeing their name thrown around. And, when you see Taylor Swift's name thrown around, regardless of how good her music is, regardless of how big she is, there's just going to be people that hate just to hate. That's, I think, a lot of what that comes from, is that people see the meme hate and then they're like, "Oh, hey, I should jump onto that." Because I don't think you could, I don't want to be biased as much as I'm going to be when I say this, but I don't think you can genuinely hate Sleep Token unless, like, I don't know, you really dislike everything that they encompass, which is a lot.
Okay. Matt, do you have any steer on this?
Well, one of the points I was going to say was what he just said, was like people just hate to hate. I might have a couple other ideas. One of them, and just from what I've seen a lot of people say, is Vessel's voice is one of them.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that.
Really?
On one end of the spectrum, people are like, "Oh my God, he's one of the best singers I've ever heard. He's so amazing." On the other side, people are saying, "Oh, he just sounds like he has a mouthful of peanut butter," and like his performances are like his performances are so over the top and just like dramatic, just to be dramatic. And I can understand that. That's a big reason why, is maybe just because of his voice. But to me, what made me gravitate to his voice like almost immediately, even when I was like, it's a decent band, I loved his voice because it just sounds like there's genuine action. Like, it doesn't sound over the top to me. It actually sounds like there's true feel and passion and emotion for what he's putting into these lyrics. And I don't know his personal life or anything, but it sounds like he's been through some shit. And I would be singing like that if I went through some shit too. Like at the end of Bloodsport, he literally breaks down in tears. Like that cannot, with the way it sounds like that, it cannot be staged or replicated. And I think that people either don't like his voice because it sounds like he's got peanut butter in his mouth, or people think that he's too emotional. That could be a reason why people just don't want to get on the train. And then my other reason was that they just don't like the fact that they're anonymous. People are just like, well, the music, you need to have a face behind the music, and so we can truly appreciate you. And I was just like, no, you don't. no, you don't. Do you know does anybody know who Gorillas are?
Yeah.
Nope. Don't think so. But guess how many millions of people love Gorillas?
Very true. Okay.
That's pretty much what I have to say to that. That's my response to that.
And how about yourself, Sen?
Basically what everybody else has been saying, especially the thing about Vessel's voice and like the anonymity thing. Like, I know people in my life that don't like Sleep Token for both of those exact reasons. But like another reason, and this is probably going to be super controversial, so like please don't come for me.
Oh, we like it then. Go then.
The metal scene is really gatekeepy.
100%.
Like full stop. You cannot convince me otherwise. Like the metal scene is absolutely merciless.
100%.
And like I'm in a couple metal groups, but because I really like Polyphia, I'm in a lot of like gent groups, and there's one specific group, gent shit posting, and oh my god, hate boner for Sleep Token. Every other meme is like a meme slamming Sleep Token, or somebody having like a hot take about how Vessel sucks, and it's like, bro, you just wish you could be that.
You should see all the posts we get in the admin queue from.
Oh my god, I bet it's so bad. I feel so bad for y'all. Y'all work overtime.
Stupid submarine posts every day in that stupid queue, and I'm like, do you guys not read?
No.
Okay. I mean, I had a thought about this, and I thought there's a couple of reasons why I think people would, and it's because in a lot of cases you get people who say Sleep Token, and it'll be put in within the metal press. Now, you wouldn't classify them as a traditional metal band because there's too many other genres in there. But yes, they have metal elements in a lot of their songs. But the problem you've then got is if you were to just go and randomly pick a song of Sleep Tokens as you're a metalhead and you're going to go, right, I'm going to go check out a metal song, and you picked Aqua Regia as the one, you're going to go, they bloody suck. That's not metal.
What the fuck
hell
is
are you
this?
doing?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you pick War, and this is going to be really interesting. But if you actually watch our Aqua Regia reaction, you'll see Andy on the channel go, this isn't metal. And on the latest one, on Vor, he was like, fucking love this. This is brilliant. And I'm like, and this is the problem. I think you're going to have this issue of different styles, that if you go in there thinking a metal song's going to sound a certain way with a limited experience, and you go in for the first 30 seconds going, well, yeah, that's the intro keyboard part. When's it going to break into the slam pit? When's the grindcore going to kick in? And you're like, no, he's been singing for about 2 minutes now. But you have to wait until you get to 4 minutes, and then suddenly you get some genting stuff going on. Then a lot of people haven't got that attention. They want that quick fix. And so they're going to make a decision on one song that quickly. And I have to say, I did that with Sleep Token. And my first impression was, I don't get the hype. Because you make a judgment call on one song. But you had to listen to so many songs to get a real big picture of this band and understand the vibe. And I think that could be a very big part of it. The other thing that I got thinking about is there are people out there automatically don't want to feel like they're sheep. So when they see a whole load of people going, Sleep Token, they're going, I'm going the opposite way because I'm not going to be one of you sheep. And they're going to put a moral position that without giving them a chance. I get the same with people about baby metal. And when I talk about people,
baby metal's so good though.
But they're like, I'm not listening to it. It's rubbish. Hate it.
I know.
Like, why? Have you actually listened to it? It's rubbish. It's crap. I'm like, but you haven't listened to it.
You don't have an appreciation for music then. Like that's a lot of people I feel that really like Sleep Token are musicians because they can appreciate the vast range of styles. And like, I'm a musician. I know Eon's a musician. I don't know about you, Matt.
I am a musician.
Oh, he is, yes.
So
Matt got to be with Nick Nocturnal because he's cool.
Oh my gosh. Man, I'm going through a Nick Nocturnal phase right now. That's all I watched last night. have a problem. But yeah, I think
I was in one of his videos. Yeah, that was kind of surreal. I still don't even think that really happened.
it did. That's awesome.
Crazy.
I mean, do we reckon that if Sleep Token had come out and you'd not done the visual side of the band, and had just come out as a band without the masks, without and was speaking in between songs, going, "Thanks, guys. Our next song is Chokehold," would the music have carried it as far as they have, or is it got to be that complete package? Do you think that's what makes it whole? Or?
No,
I'll let anyone can answer that.
I think they would have had it either way. I mean, because what they're doing is blurring genres, and that's really popular in the music scene right now. I mean, look at Polyphia. That's what they do, right? They're genre bending, like gent and pop and trap and stuff. And like, that's really popular. Go gets into that. Spirit Box is doing that too. Like, it's really popular in, I guess, the metal scene right now. So, I mean, that's, I think, the bottom part of the way for them. But the whole visual aspect and the lore behind it and all that stuff, I think that's just kind of like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
I think it would have been big either way.
Okay.
Here's what I have to say to that question about what the visual aspect. I believe that, to me, they would probably still have an inkling of success if they didn't do it. They would still probably be a pretty popular band, but to me, the reason they got so big with the way that, with what they write about and the lyrics that Vessel is singing, and with the anonymity involved into it, I think that someone could listen to it and not have a face attached to it, so they could put their own face into it. They keep themselves out of it, so you can put yourself into it, and that's why I think they got so massive with, especially like going back to the Broken People thing. It got so big with people like that because you can just empathize with it. You can put yourself into it and make the songs about you, and you don't have to interpret it any other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go on that too. They definitely would have attracted a different scene of people. Say, like the kind of Spirit Box, Lorna Shore followings. Like, yeah, we really like Lil Ramos. We like Courtney LePan. It's like, yeah, we know these people. So they would have had their own following like that. But I definitely think what Matt said, where it ties back to the emotionality. Obviously, I mentioned it before, but, when you bring it back to something like autism and ADHD, we're constantly masking, and to physically represent masking like that with actually wearing a mask is something just astronomical even to myself. You see, I'm wearing my bird mask here, one of my couple masks. Obviously, I do that for a couple reasons, but one of it is actual masking because I'm not comfortable with myself. I don't know if he's comfortable with his own emotions and doesn't know how to regulate them. He regulates them through music, obviously, but
yeah.
I think it ties down to that almost. These people, some of them at least, I know other people have agreed with me on this before because I made a comment about it a while back, where it's like a physical representation of what it feels like to mask as someone on the spectrum.
Okay. I've got one last thing to ask before we wrap up today's live stream. For anyone that's never heard Sleep Token, what would be the one song that each of you would recommend? That is the one you need to, because unfortunately, one song is not going to give you the full idea of a band. But if you're trying to get someone a gateway one in, those gatekeepers of the metal, they're going to need a gateway into Sleep Token, unfortunately. And I can say that I know how important it is to have that one song. I listened to lots and lots of Nightwish and couldn't get into it. And I found one Nightwish song that I suddenly was like, wow, that's really good. And I went back to these other songs and really enjoyed them then. But it took me to find that one song to get me through the gate. So what song would you recommend someone who's never heard Sleep Token, they have to check out to give them the best chance of becoming a fan? And I'm going to throw it to Sen first, just to put you under pressure straight away.
It's like I can make a lot of excuses, like, it depends on the person. What kind of music do they like? Because Sleep Token appeals to everybody. But I think like the song that I've been recommending to everybody that's never heard Sleep Token is Take Me Back to Eden, because it literally has everything.
Okay.
Like it starts off, you know, very atmospheric, very soft, and then it gets into like those like R&B and hip hop vibes that like you're just kind of like, what? And then it gets heavier and heavier and heavier to like the very end, when that's like, I think that and Gods are two of the like heaviest, nastiest Sleep Token anything. And most of the people that have showed Take Me Back to Eden are like, oh damn, this is really long, are you serious? And I'm like, trust me, it's not going to feel that long, I promise. And they come back, you know, 8 minutes later and they're like, holy shit, that changed my life. See how you get it.
Okay. How about you, Matt? What would you suggest to anyone to go check out?
Ascensionism. For me, it would have to be
That's my favorite song.
Because it has the very piano intro, jumps right into the R&B, hip-hoppy side of Sleep Token, and then it drops into their melodic chorus, is like an instrumental right before the breakdown, is like what they would have in a lot of their hooks. And then it goes right into the pitch shifted, mega drop tuned bridge cable tuning breakdown with Vessel just screaming at the top of his lungs. And then it goes right back into the peace and tranquility to throw you right back into the ringer again for the end with that fucking bridge cable tuning. And that touches on everything for me. Like, for anyone that would ask me, oh, what song should I check out? That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the song when I listened, my first listen through on the album. That's the one that made me just lose my mind and cry.
The cry song for me was Euclid, was the one for me where I just lost it.
Oh man, that one too. Oh.
There was a lot of crying.
Yeah.
Ian, how about yourself?
I'm gonna have to go with Old Reliable of The Night Does Not Belong to God. Beautiful Oblivion, that's the song that they opened with, I think, every night. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong there.
They did it every night when I saw them too, yeah.
Yeah, they opened with that song, and there's something, it's not like their most popular song, don't get me wrong. It's not like, I don't want to say it's not even their best work, because I'd throw that with When the Bow Breaks. That song's just different.
The Bandcamp version?
Of course. The best version. But The Night Does Not Belong to God, just something about it is enough to make you interested. And if you can get someone interested, then they can really just find everything. It's got the metal, it's got the beautiful vocals, it's got that enchanting intro, it's just got that, like, it's got that build to it too. The same kind of build that Higher does, but not as well as Higher does it.
Okay.
It's got that swagger.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So I think we answered. I think we may have answered the question: why is there the hype? So Sleep Token is the band for the broken. Maybe that is the reason why the hype's there. I just got to say a big thank you to Ian, Matt, and Sen for obviously taking time out of your day to come and speak to us on the channel. I have thoroughly enjoyed our chat about Sleep Token. I've got to go and spend some more time checking them out, because I've only actually had a chance to do one full listen through of every song just to make sure I'd actually listened to everything before I came on a few days ago. So I should go back and do a few more listens through definitely. And for anyone who hasn't gone and checked out any of our breakthroughs, or breakdowns or reactions, whatever you want to call them, please do check them out on the channel, especially when Vor drops. Please do Aqua Regia and then go check out Vor and see a completely different type of reaction. But thank you very much for watching. Thanks to everyone on the live stream, and obviously if you're watching this on the catch up as well. Thank you very much. Take care.